What's up, guys? We're back with another video today, and guys, in today's video, I've got the greatest idea ever. UFC fighters who would likely fight in a war, bro. I mean, just come on now. This is definitely, like, up there with, like, the best ideas I've ever come up with, guys. If you've been keeping up with anything with the world, you know that we were very close to a World War III. You know, it was pretty bad. This is when I came up with the idea. Though it seems like shit's been going down. It seems like we've been slightly calming down now, you know. But still, you know, I just thought, why not make this video? You know what? Who are the UFC fighters who I think would do well in a war? And who are some UFC fighters who I think would definitely lose in like the first second of a war, you know? So I've come up with a couple of UFC fighters on here who I think would be a great soldier versus a soldier who would definitely commit some war crimes, you know? That's the spectrum we're going with. We're going with the perfect soldier versus the war crime soldier. That's basically what we're gonna go with. Alright, now the first fighter on here, I just thought, why not actually put an actual soldier? Benoit Saint-Denis. If you guys don't know, Benoit Saint-Denis was actually a French soldier. I believe he was deployed in Mali, somewhere in like the African countries down there where France used to colonize them. One of those countries. He's done some soldier stuff. He has killed some soldiers, I believe. He's definitely like been deployed some stuff. I think he would be a pretty good soldier, I would say, because he's actually up there as like a legitimate soldier. If you are an actual soldier and you have been deployed, you are automatically up here. That's just how it's gonna be. Alright, now for the next person on here, we have Khamzat Chimaev. I think Khamzat Chimaev, he would do decent. I think he would be a pretty alright soldier, I don't think he would, like, get killed in, like, the first week or anything. I think that he would, like, relatively stay along for quite a while, because he does have some experience, you know. He's a crazy person, you know. He's got some gun experience. I would say he would do decent, especially if you're in Chechnya. If you know anything about that region, you know some stuff's happened down there back in, like, the early 2000s. Some stuff really happened down there, back with Russia and Chechnya, you know. Some stuff pretty bad happened down there. Let's just leave it at that. So I would say Khamzat Chimaev has some experience with that. He probably knows how to deal with it. They probably taught him when he was younger. Alright, next up we have Dan Hooker. Low-key a hot take right here. I think Dan Hooker would probably get killed after a week because he would probably like go for every single soldier he would see on sight. He would probably want all the smoke with anyone, like the Chinese, the Iranians, all of them guys. He would probably go after all of them, and he would probably die after a week because he would just want to fight everybody there. And meanwhile, he probably would go a bit crazy because he's already crazy when he's fighting. I can see him getting even more crazy if he were to try and go into a war, and he probably would just be the first soldiers to go out. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's just one of those crazy soldiers that you see in like as a veteran during later of the wars. You know, there's always that like one crazy soldier when you're fighting that's like there to like kind of keep you in check in a way. So he could potentially be around for a lot longer, but I think Dan Hooker would probably get killed after like the first week. Alright, next up we have Islam Makhachev. I'm putting Islam Makhachev in great soldier. First of all, he's probably one of the best fighters in the UFC right now. He just got taken his pound for pound ranking. That's absolutely insane. Ilia Topuria took everything from Islam Makhachev. Except for fighting him. Islam, fight Ilia Topuria. When are you gonna do it? Like, Jesus Christ. The point is still, Islam Makhachev is still a pretty good soldier. I would say so. He has gun experience. He's a part of that same region as Khamzat Chimaev. I would say he's, like, slightly better. I don't know. I feel like Islam Makhachev would do better than Khamzat Chimaev. Might be a hot take. I could definitely see people arguing that Khamzat Chimaev would do better in a war than Islam Makhachev. I could definitely see that. I just personally think Islam Makhachev would do better. There's not much I can really say that he would. I just think that, for one, it would probably just be because he's a better, like, actual fighter compared to Khamzat Chimaev. And he also has gun experience as well as Khamzat Chimaev. Plus, I would say Islam Makhachev would be more, he would hold himself back when it comes to war crimes. I think Khamzat Chimaev, he wouldn't do war crimes, but I think I could see him doing it maybe once or something like that. But I think Islam Makhachev would hold himself back and not do that type of stuff. So I would probably put him a great soldier. He would probably help out some people, you know, because he is a nice dude. I remember when Volkanovski was talking about his girl saying, what if it's Islam Makhachev coming into his room and scaring him? Islam, literally days later, sent Volkanovski a gift in order to make his girls feel better. That's actually such a Chad move from Islam Makhachev. I gotta give him respect for that. So I would personally put Islam at like great soldier. That's what I would say, honestly. Alright, next up we have Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje, I'm putting in average. I don't think Justin Gaethje would be that great of a soldier. I don't think he would die in like the first week. I don't think he would be like how Dan Hooker is, but I think he would be like below average, I would say. He's at that threshold where he's a soldier who doesn't want to fight, but he will fight, and he will do decent at it. but he doesn't want to do it. That's kind of what I'm thinking with Justin Gaethje. He does have gun experience as well. Most of these fighters do have gun experience, let's be real. Every single one of them does. I'm pretty sure every single one of them I have on here does, but still, he has some gun experience. He lives like Colorado and like the upstate America, all that stuff. He would probably he's the type of fighter that I could see Justin Gaethje where he doesn't use guns. He just uses hand-to-hand combat to take out soldiers. I could honestly see him being that type of fighter, and he would just love it. He would just love it. But then afterwards, he's probably like cleaning the deck, maybe being on an aircraft carrier, something like that. I could see him being like that. I would probably still put him at average, maybe great soldier, but I would say average soldier would be fit for Justin Gaethje. Alright, next up we have Valentina Shevchenko, the only female fighter I'm going to be putting on here, just because she's probably the only female fighter who I actually think deserves to be on here with these other fighters. She has good gun experience. She's part of the Russia area group. She's kind of giving me vibes of Scarlett Johansson and all that stuff. I saw a video about that a couple years ago where someone made a documentary comparing Valentina Shevchenko to Scarlett Johansson. I see the comparisons. For one, they're both Russian, or at least they speak Russian. They have gun experience, and I mean, that's pretty much where the comparisons end right there. She's also pretty skilled as a fighter, so I would probably say she would be decent as a soldier. I wouldn't say she'd be anything too crazy. She would probably restrict herself similar to Islam. I would probably say she's a good soldier. Alright, next up, now going straight into the war crime tier list, because we haven't talked about anyone below Dan Hooker. Jon Jones. Jon Jones is 100% a war criminal. He might be the worst out of all these guys. Bro, he would 100% kill he would definitely do some horrendous war crimes, bro. 100% he would, and he would pretend that he would walk it off being like it's nothing, it's fine, I have my reasonings for it. Meanwhile, he just did the most horrendous things you could imagine. I could genuinely see Jon Jones doing that. Meanwhile, he's still ducking Tom Aspinall. If Tom Aspinall is on the other side of the front lines and Jon Jones is on the other side of the front lines as well, he's running away. He would never fight Tom Aspinall even if it was in the war. He would rather retire or get injured in order not to fight Tom Aspinall in a war zone. That's how crazy it is with Jon Jones. Regardless, this dude's definitely committing some war crimes. He's probably committing at least 5 to 10 war crimes. Alright, now going straight up to the perfect soldier tier list, we have Matt Frevola. I would say, again, Matt Frevola is probably a perfect soldier. He was deployed in the U.S. military. He's trained there. He's pretty good, I would say. Maybe not good as a UFC fighter, but as a UFC soldier, he's definitely up there, I would say. He's fought in the military before. You gotta give him his respect to that. Any fighter who has actually fought in the military, they have much more respect for me because you actually are risking your life. You train to protect your country. I have a lot more respect for you because of that. Doesn't matter where you are from, doesn't matter who you are. If you have fought for your country in order to protect it, I have nothing but respect to you. Going into might commit a few war crimes, we have Sean Strickland. I was tempted to put Sean Strickland in war crimes category because I could very much see him doing so, but I think he would not do that. He would definitely commit a few war crimes. He definitely would. I could see him doing that. But I don't think he would go too AWire like Jon Jones would. Jon Jones would 100% commit 20 to 50 war crimes. 100% he would. Sean Strickland might commit maybe 1 to 2 war crimes at most, I would say. Don't get me wrong, he would definitely commit some. If you know Sean Strickland's backstory, you know exactly what I'm talking about, who he was when he was a child. You know exactly what I'm talking about. He would definitely commit some war crimes. He definitely would get flashbacks of how he was as a child and how he was raised. I could definitely see him doing that. Still, I would probably say he might commit a few war crimes because he would probably stop himself after he commits a couple. Now, also on this tier list, we have Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer, bro, listen, I'm just gonna say this. Joe Pyfer, stay away from any groups. Don't try and fight other groups. Just stick, if this is a war, stick in Europe. If you know what I'm trying to say. Listen, Joe Pyfer definitely, if you know about the Joe Pyfer jokes, you know about the turn off body cams. He literally posted it on a Instagram before he fought Calvin Gastelum. That was so funny as shit. I'm not gonna lie with you. He would definitely turn off body cams. He would definitely turn off everything in a war zone. I could see him definitely committing a few war crimes in the name for America. He's 100% the type of guy to do that. I guarantee you he would. Alright, now going up to Great Soldiers tier list, we have Charles Oliveira. Now, this tier list was made before Charles Oliveira literally died in front of us. Rest in peace, Charles Oliveira. You will be missed. still, I thought I'd still include him on here because, you know, we have to honor our boy Charles Oliveira. I think Charles Oliveira would be a good soldier. I think he would. I could definitely see him he would definitely be a good guy. He's definitely a good guy soldier. He would probably help all the kids that are stuck in the war zone. He definitely would be like a medical guy. I could definitely see him being like a medical person to help the wounded people and the sick people, the refugees and all that stuff. I could definitely see him being that type of fighter. He's definitely giving me that vibes of someone. Alright, next up we have Merab Dvalishvili. Hear me out. I could low-key see Merab getting so excited, getting so energized by fighting in a war that he literally dies like the next day. That's the type of guy Merab is. He's the guy who's going to try and put so much pressure on the opponent and the war zone that he's going to put way too much pressure and he's going to somehow kill himself by fighting in a war. Like, bro, he'll like be pushing the enemy so far that the other soldiers that he's with won't even be with him by that point, and the enemies will circle Merab, and it'll take like probably like 200 soldiers just to get rid of one guy like Merab Dvalishvili. That's the type of guy Merab is. He's the type of guy to push the enemy so far back that his allies are nowhere near him and he gets encircled. All right, next up, hear me out, Bryce Mitchell. Hear me out, guy. This is crazy, putting Bryce Mitchell in average when all the shit you've heard about Bryce Mitchell. I could low-key see Bryce Mitchell being decent, guys. Hear me out. Hear me out. I don't like Bryce Mitchell like the rest of you guys. Listen, I don't like Bryce Mitchell at all. I think he's pretty shitty. I'm not gonna lie. But I could low-key see Bryce Mitchell being a good soldier. Not in the sense that he's fighting in the war zone. I don't think he would be a soldier. I could definitely see him being a soldier in a way, but I just don't see it. I think he's the type of guy who will stay put, and if, let's say, I don't know, America were to get invaded, which it just isn't. America's just too, like, the borders are just too strong. But enough of that. If, let's say, America was invaded, Bryce Mitchell's staying up in the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia, singing, like, music, and then he's hiding in the forest, and then, boom, his opponent gets shotgunned. Like, a Chinese soldier's there, and he hears Bryce Mitchell, gets shotgunned in the face. Or he gets submit or something like that, and then he's told about he wants to go fishing with you. Like, that's the type of guy I could see Bryce Mitchell being in a war zone. I could definitely see him being like a home turf soldier type of guy. Not necessarily a frontline soldier. He's more a guy who will like sit in the back of like a war zone. Like, he'll stay in the country, and if like soldiers are invading it, he'll be the first one to get rid of them. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. Alright, now going straight down to war crimes, it is 100% Conor McGregor. There's just no debate. Conor McGregor's 100% in the war crimes tier with John Jones. It's just undeniable. Bro, if America went to war with Russia, you know Conor McGregor is going to join the American army, and he's going to try and set a nuke off into Russia, specifically Dagestan. We know why. He don't like Dagestanians. He don't like Russia. I mean, he probably don't mind, like, Putin. I remember he took a photo with him a long time ago, back during, I think, the World Cup it was in Russia. He definitely would just, like, fire nukes. Every single nuke America has, he would fire at Dagestan just to wipe it off the face of the earth. That's basically what Conor McGregor would do. And then he probably would just die the next day. Like, honestly, he probably would not care about the war. If it was just America versus Russia, he's joined the war, he's trying to get all the nukes, and he's going to try and bomb Dagestan as much as he can, because he just hates all those guys. Alright, now the final person we have here is Michael Chandler. I think Michael Chandler would probably get killed after a week fighting. You want to know why? Because he's so patriotic and all that stuff that I don't think he would do good in a war. I don't think he would. I think he's the type of fighter and soldier that you would have as like a propaganda guy who's just like so patriotic for his country that he's like, let's go America and all that stuff. That he would be great for like promoting and propaganda for America. But as far as fighting, he's not, he would probably die, honestly. I could see him doing that. I could see that happening to Michael Chandler. I think it would be better to keep him as like someone to like rally the troops and keep the momentum going for the other soldiers fighting, as he's just standing by and giving them moral support. That's what I'm trying to get at with Michael Chandler. But guys, that is me giving my thoughts on UFC fighters who would likely fight in a war and how well they would do. Let me know what you guys thought about this incredible video. Do you think it is like the best of the Lemon MMA channel can offer? Do you think it's alright? Do you think it's bad? Genuinely let me know. Do you agree with some of these fighters being at where they at? Honestly, I could see some of you guys disagreeing with a couple, you know, Bryce Mitchell. But, you know, that's how it's gonna be, you know. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!